Picture Thizzits pushing midnight in Willow Creek, that sleepy little dot on the map in central Michigan where the factories shut down years ago and everyone's still pretending the Rust Belt's got a pulse. I'm walking home from another double shift at the garage, my 8-year-old Lily's tiny hand swallowed up in mine, her sneakers scuffing the cracked sidewalk like she's got the whole world to conquer. And then, bam from the mouth of that dingy alley behind the old mill, these gut-wrenching screams slice through the quiet. Two shadows pinning a young woman against the graffiti-tagged wall, their fists cocked like they're settling some score from hell itself. Lily tugs at me, her voice this whisper that's half fear, half fire. Daddy, can we help her? And in that split second, everything I ever scraped together to keep us afloat, the endless bills, the nights wondering if I'd ever be enough for her, it all crashes down like a busted transmission. Man, I froze there under the flickering street lamp, heart hammering like AV8 on the Redland part of me screaming to just keep walking. Bundle Lily up and pretend the world's ugliness stops at our doorstep. Because who the hell am I? Ethan Caldwell, grease monkey extraordinaire, single dad since her mom bailed for the lights of Chicago, chasing dreams that didn't include us. But Lily's eyes, those big hazel ones staring up at me like I'm some kind of caped crusader from her Saturday morning cartoons, they pinned me harder than those thugs had the woman. I couldn't teach her to look away, not when she'd already seen too much of folks turning blind eyes in this town, neighbors who'd rather whisper about the trouble than lift a finger. So I squeeze her hand, murmur, "Stay right here, kiddo," and step into the fray, my work boots crunching gravel like a bad omen. The bigger one turns first. This slab of a guy with a faded tattoo snaking up his neck turns out later he's Tommy Rook, Harlan, local hothead, who's been itching to muscle in on my garage since his uncle lost the bid on the old auto yard next door, some petty land grab turned grudge that festers like bad oil. "Beat it, grease rat," he snarls, breath reeking of cheap whiskey and cheaper spite, his buddy skinny, twitchy Eddie grinning like a hyena, cracking knuckles that probably haven't thrown an honest punch since high school. The woman's gasping now, her face a mask of terror, skirt torn, purse spilled like confetti from a nightmare. And she's pleading, "Please, just." I didn't do nothing, but these clowns, they're beyond reason. Rook's got this chip on his shoulder the size of Lake Michigan, blaming everyone for his dead-end life. And tonight, she's just the spark. I don't think. I lunge, me fist connects with Rook's jaw in this satisfying crack that echoes off the bricks, pain shooting up my arm like fire. But damn if it doesn't feel right, like shaking loose a rusted bolt that's been jamming me for years. Eddie swings wild, misses by a mile, and I shove him into a dumpster with a clang that rattles the whole alley. Lily's little daddy, cutting through the chaos sharper than any blade, fueling me like high octane. They stumble back, cursing a blue streak. "This ain't over, Caldwell, you meddling fool," and slink off into the shadows, tails between their legs. But not before Rook spits blood and mutters something about making me pay for sticking your nose where it don't belong. I turn to the woman Sarah, I learn later, a barista at the corner diner who's been dodging these creeps ever since she turned down Rook's slimy advances. Some twisted mix of rejection and that garage grudge boiling over, and she's trembling, tears carving tracks through the grime on her cheeks. You saved me," she whispers, clutching my sleeve like I'm the last solid thing in a spinning world, and I glance back at Lily, who's peeking from behind a trash bin, her face pale but fierce. "Nah," I say, voice rough around the edges, pulling her close. "We did it together, squirt." That night, as I tuck Lily in with her stuffed wolf, ironic. "Huh?" She looks up, all serious, and asks, "Were you scared, Daddy?" I sigh, stroking her hair, the ache in my knuckles throbbing like a reminder. "Terrified, baby girl. But fear's just the gas pedal if you don't hit it when it counts. The world's mean streak just gets wider." She nods, like that makes perfect sense, and drifts off with a smile that hits me harder than Rook's ghost of a swing ever could. By morning, Willow Creek's buzzing like a hive, kicked over folks at the gas pumps muttering, "Did ya hear? That mechanic fella took down 2 goons barehanded." With his kid watching the whole damn thing, stories twisting like smoke from a tailpipe, some painting me reckless, others a reluctant saint. Sarah's spilling it all at the diner, her arm in a sling but her fire unquenched, pointing me out to wide-eyed regulars. Ethan didn't hesitate, not for a heartbeat, stepped in like it was his fight from the jump. Me? I'm just nursing coffee and a bruised ego at the garage, wishing the spotlight would flicker out, because attention's the last thing a guy like me needs when rent's due and the alternator on our old Ford's wheezing its last. But fate, that sly bastard. She's got a twisted sense of humor come noon. The ground starts vibrating, this low rumble building like thunder chasing a storm, and Lily bursts through the shop door, eyes saucer wide. Daddy, bike's big one's outside. I wipe the grease from my hands, step out, and holy hell, the street's alive with chrome and Lethera, dozen Harleys lined up like soldiers at attention, engines idling with that deep, guttural growl that says trouble or salvation, depending on the angle. The lead rider swings off. This grizzled bear of a man with salt and pepper beard and eyes like weathered oak calls himself Jax Iron Jaw Malone, president of the Iron Wolves MC, that outlaw crew everyone's whispered about since the 80s, back when they rolled in from the up to claim their slice of nowhere. Neighbors are frozen on porches, curtains twitching, half expecting a brawl, but Jax just plants himself in front of me, extends a calloused hand that's seen more miles than my odometer. Ethan Caldwell, word is you grew a pair last night when most would have tucked tail. I nod, wary, clasping that iron grip feels like shaking hands with destiny itself, and he chuckles low, glancing at Lily peeking from my leg. And you, little wolf, asked your old man to jump in? That's the spark that lights real fires. The wolves murmur approval, these tattooed giants nodding like they've already voted me in, and Sarah crosses the street, sling and all, jabbing a finger my way. This man's the reason I'm breathing today, risked it all for a stranger, with his girl right there. Jax claps my shoulder, heavy as a vow. World short on stand-up guys, Ethan. And guys like you? They don't ride solo. That doubt gnaws at me all afternoon. Those bastards Rook and Eddie slinking by the gas station across the way. Their glares like daggers, plotting payback because yeah, it's personal now. Rook's been scheming to buy out my shop cheap, turn it into some chop joint for his shady crew, and my interference just poured gas on that grudge. Lily skips in after school, backpack swinging, and my gut twists, what if they come at us again? Turn this into a war I can't win with wrenches and willpower? But then the rumble returns, louder, a symphony of steel, and the wolves pull up like a thunderhead, chrome walls forming, Jax dismounting with boots that hit pavement like Judgment Day. He locks eyes on the lurkers. Problem with my brother here? Voice calm as a loaded chamber, and Rook mutters some bullshit about mend in your own. But under 50 pairs of wolf-hard stares, they shrink, slink off with tails tucked, bravado evaporating like morning fog. Jax turns to me, steady as bedrock. You swung cause it was right, not for the shine. That's why we wolf pack ain't no lone howls in this life. Lily shy smiles from behind me, and one wolf big guy named Grit Crutches slips her a bandana with their snarling emblem. Pack's got your six now, pup. Weeks blur like highway stripes after that town shifts on a dime. Folks who once crossed streets at the sight of wolves now linger, swapping nods over fences, kids waving like it's a parade. I'm still the same grease rat, but with a vest slung over the chair at home, black leather whispering you're in every time I glance its way. One dusk, Jax corners me outside the shop, stars pricking the sky like distant campfires. Still chewing on why us, Ethan? You didn't ask for this brotherhood. I shrug, staring at hands that smell like forever oil. Just keeping my girl safe, man ain't hero material. He hands me the vest, patch gleaming, snarling wolf mid-leap. That's the point, brother. Heroes don't audition, they show up. And you did. Lily pads out, eyes lighting up. Daddy, you look fierce like one of the pack. Shoulders that carried the world alone for years. They ease, just a fraction, with that growl of engines sealing the deal in the distance. But the real storm brews late one Friday, shop lights buzzing as Lily doodles on an invoice pad, me buried in a carburetor rebuild. Footsteps crunch gravel heavy. Deliberate, and there they are. Rook and Eddie melting from the shadows, faces twisted with that sour mix of booze and bitterness. Rook leans in the doorframe, smirking like he owns the night. Figured your mutt friends had better spots to howl tonight, Caldwell. Time to settle. Youpie is sticking your nose in my business, ruining my play for this dump? That's on you. Eddie's fidgeting, knife glinting under his jacket. Petty theft's their game, but grudges like this? They cut deep. Born from Rook's daddy issues in a town that chewed him up same as me. only he turned venom instead of grit. Lily freezes, crayon midair, and I rise slow, shielding her. You touch a hair on her head, Harlan, and I'll bury you deeper than your regrets. They advance, rooks laugh, a bark, big words for a dead man, fists flying in this blur of rage and redemption. My first swing glancing off his guard, pain blooming fresh, Eddie lunging low like a cornered rat. Then roar. Headlights blaze the lot like divine intervention, engines thundering in a crescendo that shakes the earth, wolves swarming from every angle 20-30 bikes encircling us in a steel symphony, Jax at the helm, dismounting like a wolf king. Last warning you got, Harlan walk, or we make this your wake. Rook whirls, bravado cracking like cheap glass, Eddie dropping his blade with a clatter that echoes forever. They backpedal, stammering curses that die in their throats, swallowed by the pack's unblinking eyes. Jax doesn't raise a voice, just stands there, immovable, as they bolt into the dark, ghosts of their own making. I exhale, crumpling to one knee, pulling Lily into a hug that smells of oil and ozone, her heartbeat syncing with mine. It's okay, data theory gone. But Jax kneels too, voice gravel soft. Not gone, brother just taught. Pack protects its own. That seals it. You know the next dawn, I'm straddling a borrowed softail, Lily bundled in a pint-sized jacket from Grit's old lady, her arms locked around my waist like an anchor. The wolves form up, Jax leading the charge down Main, wind whipping our faces as Willow Creek blurs by, folks spilling from diners, jaws slack, waving tentative hellos like the town's thawing from a long freeze. We hit the highway, fields rolling gold under a merciless sun, and for the first time since the mill whistle blew its last, I feel its rebirth, raw and roaring, fear transmuting to fire as Lily whoops in my ear. Faster. Datawery flying. We pull over at an overlook, engines idling low, Jax raising a fist. To Ethan the quiet storm who reminded us why we ride. And Lily the spark that lit it. The pack erupts, whoops echoing to the horizon, and I slide that vest on proper, leather settling like a second skin, heavy with promise. But here's the rub, the part that keeps me up some nights even now, staring at the ceiling fans lazy spin. Those wolves. They're family, sure, but they're vigilantes too, rolling rushod over lines the law draws fuzzy. Rook and Eddie? They slunk out of town, tail between legs, but whispers say they're stirring trouble upstate, recruiting shadows with scores to settle. And part of me wonders if my swing that night didn't just save Sarah hit unleashed something wilder. A pack justice that blurs right and wrong like taillights in rain. Jax calls it balance, says towns like ours rot without it. But Lily, my wise beyond years girl, she piped up last ride. Daddy, are the wolves good guys, or just louder monsters? And damn if that doesn't twist the knife, because in Willow Creek, where HOAs choke the life out of folks and grudges fester like weeds, is a father's punch worth the howl that follows? Or does it just trade one beast for another? What about you? Ever had to choose between walking away and howling back? Drop your take below. Was Ethan's stand the spark this town needed, or did it just fan flames we can't control? Hit like if it hit home, subscribe for more raw slices from the heartland, and share your own street justice stories. Let's unpack this mess together, 'cause in the end, we're all just riding the ridge between fear and family.